What is going on YouTube? Today we are going to obtain the Platinum Trophy for Batman Arkham Knight. This game has been on my list to play for a while, as I have played the hell out of the Asylum and City games when I was younger. I even pre-ordered this game on the PC back in the day, but I couldn't really complete much and had to refund it due to it being literally so unplayable it got removed from the store for a short period of time. Now, many years later, it has been claimed by many to be the best Batman game of them all, and also brings in a challenging Platinum Trophy. Firstly, I wanted to say a big thank you to all of the support and comments on the Suicide Squad Platinum video.
I love you, bitch.
Safe to say, after watching how this Batman gets sent back to the lobby, I wanted to experience a true Arkham game, and this one ticked all of the bright boxes. We are not going for the DLC trophies in this video. After a lot of research, the DLCs hold some of the hardest trophies known with an insanely low achievement rate. I'm going to say 5,000 likes on this video and I will give those DLCs the old college girl try. Yes, I am setting the bar insanely high because, to be honest with you, the trophies sound about as much fun as dragging my nuts across sandpaper. Anyway, back to the main game trophy list, where you are looking at a solid 64 trophies to achieve the Platinum and add it to our collection. The guide says we are looking at around 40 hours, maybe more, to complete this. Arkham Knight is a solid 5 out of 10 on the difficulty in my opinion. It requires a minimum of 2 playthroughs, the normal 100% and then a new game plus. I was super lucky and had my data get corrupted around halfway through, so I got the joy of technically playing it through 2.5 times. With all that out the way, let's follow Travis Scott's journey and clean up the streets. The game starts off by showing us the main villain is not the Joker, but is instead Scarecrow.
I'm going to commit great crime. I'm going to bust nut in Water Tower.
He has sent the city into madness by forming a team of villains to Dutch oven the city with a deadly gas that turns people insane. Rightfully, everyone panics and flees the city. The Joker still plays a big part of this game, as Batman's blood is infected with his DNA thanks to their last visit. So all game, Batman basically has schizophrenia and is battling to stop the Joker taking over his body. Anyway, back to the story. We are introduced to Police Daddy Gordon, who thinks his daughter has managed to escape the city, but it turns out that we have her in our basement. We are then introduced to the game's combat and get the Batmobile cutscene that gives most men a semi and our first trophy. After this, we chase this bald dude for some information on Poison Ivy's location. While freeing Poison Ivy, I wanted to talk about the only 2 issues that I have with the game. Number 1 is I think that the Batmobile is a tad overused throughout the game, although it is a good job that they made it fun. Number 2 is the controls. Yes, they feel good once you have it figured out, but my god are they not intuitive to pick up. Anyway, we are saved from the ambush by the Batmobile and we proceed to definitely not kill these guys. We put Poison Ivy in the boot and then lock her up for safekeeping, netting us the next trophy. We are introduced to the mission tracking system and then proceed to cry when I notice how many Riddler trophies we have to get. We are going to ignore them for now and instead progress the story. Completing more tutorials and locating the Scarecrow unlocks us our next trophy. We then head down to the chemical plant to meet Gordon, who looks pleased to see us. While on the PewDiePie bridge, we are then introduced to another villain, the Arkham Knight, who we do not know the identity of yet. Batman then has to rescue some hostages and stop this fart bomb that's about to go off. We then have an in-person meeting with the Arkham Knight and gun down all of his men. And who says Batman doesn't kill, hey? Now that we have freed all of the hostages for a trophy, we then head into the facility and give out some free knuckle sandwiches. While trying to stop the bomb, Scarecrow then locks us in this room, just kind of leaving us to reduce the impact of the bomb and experience Batman's pullout game. It is very abruptly interrupted when our schizophrenia kicks in and we are then shot in the head by the Joker. Luckily for us, it obviously was not real and we wake up shortly after and escape the facility for our next trophy. Batman then meets Gordon back at the clock tower and he finds out that we had his daughter in the basement, which goes about as well as expected. Our next objective is to lower the bridge and get our car onto the next island. Having to head over to the island on foot, we then stealth our way over to this computer and have a quick look at the search history for our next trophy. While on the island, we have decided to knock out some side missions that have opened up. First, we go and help Catwoman, who has been captured by the Riddler. She has a bomb collar on to help with house training, so we work with getting that removed throughout the playthrough. Next, we chase down this dude with a jetpack, setting fire to things, slap him a few times and then we let him go. After, we get to meet this weirdo who wants to replace Batman. His missions consist of combat challenges where you cannot get hit.
Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth.
Eventually we do beat it, and he just Ezio dives off the roof. Heading over to the story mission, we then get jump scared so bad that I threw my controller.
Hey, disconnected!
We then head to the Arkham Knight's compound and proceed to sneak through in hopes to find him. Once we do, he then Superman punches us and caps Batman right in his side. This has absolutely no effect, as we very quickly whoop like 20 guards right after and interrogate this dude on our way out for the next trophy. This might be a bit of a hot take, but I swear Batman has the biggest case of plot armor in history. You can literally answer any question with "because he is Batman." While gliding to our next mission, we spotted a chance to get back at the fucker who jump scared us earlier, so we rugby tackle him out of the sky and extract a sample of blood to find out exactly what this hideous thing is. Spoiler alert, it's your mother. After that, we then stumble across a Riddler race which we decide to complete with definite ease. At least we managed to get a key for Catwoman's collar and a trophy. While at these challenges, I will be 3-starring them to try and help with the cleanup a bit later. We then head to the next race and knock out that one too for this trophy. Carrying on with the story, Cobblepot is next on our list and we track him down to this warehouse. A nice chat and combat sequence later, Batman then compliments his massive bulge.
Thanks, Dick. I appreciate it.
And we blow up Cobblepot's stash for the Cold World trophy. On our way to the next mission, we find out about our car's taser feature. Then we attempt this challenge and fail miserably, so we rage quit and move on to the next Riddler mission. This was not a good idea, as I got stuck for like 5 minutes in this room alone.
You stupid!
But at least in the end, we get another trophy. Since I have just proved my genius, I carry on with the Riddler missions.
I have potato blood in my veins.
Next up was a race where we had some issues trying to get the 3 stars, but in the end we do, and to net the next trophy. We then have to do a gliding puzzle which made me lose brain cells. However, once completed, we get another key and another trophy. The next Riddler mission was a combat one, which we cleared with ease, and then we get another trophy. And now we are back to the main story where we have to infiltrate an airship to try and have a chat with someone called Stag.
I cannot see, I'm legally blind.
He has helped Scarecrow build a chlamydia strain which he wants to unleash onto the city, so of course we need to find a way to stop it. After saving him, we have another mental breakdown and proceed to get jumped by a lot of jokers. Although we are given a trophy, Stag is captured again and we have to give chase.
Fucking meow!
Once we arrive at the head of the ship, we are then greeted by Scarecrow, who proceeds to inject us with the Chlamydia 2.0 after catching us lacking due to Joker. The new strain, however, seems to trigger the Joker to come out, who is completely unaffected by the psychoactive side effects of the poison. Scarecrow decides to use our mental episode as a chance to escape and then proceeds to blow up Batman with an RPG for our next trophy. We then chat with Barbara, the woman that was from our basement, and she then endgames herself, which is not good news. Some brainstorming later, Batman remembers that Ivy is unaffected by the toxin and can most likely help protect the city if it does get dispersed. So we give her a get out of jail free card, take her to these gardens where we have to protect her for a trophy, but also she can create these big butthole looking plants to counter the toxins. Militia are shortly sent out after to try and shoot down these plants, and we again have to protect them for another trophy. Next on the list was some side missions and challenges, where we met our fair share of struggles. However, I was able to get the 20 fear takedowns trophy after resetting this challenge so often. Back to the main story, we are trying to access more of the Arkham Knight's search history and nearly get caught in the act. After calling him out on his suspicious searches, we then get smoke bombed and he dips out of there, leaving us with his guys to get their cheeks clapped. Once he leaves, we are then able to download all of the history and net ourselves the next trophy. With the final island opened up fully, I decided to go back and get more keys for Catwoman's house training collar, giving us these 3 trophies. This race here did make me rage a little bit, but eventually we 3-star the race and enough challenges to get another trophy. We then stop all of Two-Face's bank robberies and put him behind bars for this trophy. Batman then receives a broadcast from Harley Quinn as she has taken over his hideout. So we head right over and fight our way back in to locate Harley. We then bump into Andrew Tate dressed as Robin and agree to let him help. After interrogating one of Harley's thugs, we get a trophy that sounds like your Friday night. Robin then gets cornered by Harley and her goons, so we have to vent in like we're playing Among Us and chokeslam her for yet another trophy. Once we clear the room, we then pick up Harley and throw her in prison. We then do the same for Robin, as he wants to be like Tate so much.
The Matrix has attacked me.
Leaving the headquarters, we are then jump scared again. We then go and complete this side mission where someone is impersonating us and has Lucius Fox at gunpoint. Now would be a good time to say, is it me or does Bruce Wayne look like a super jacked version of Peter Parker in Spider-Man 2? In the end, Lucius and Batman give him the left-right good night and we earn ourselves another trophy. Poison Ivy then reaches out as she is being attacked by tanks. En route, we nearly get wiped out by this jet. While defending her, we managed to get this trophy for hitting 50 critical shots on tanks, and then another one once we've cleared the area. Scarecrow then retaliates by launching a chlamydia bomb, which floods the whole city to the point that Ivy cannot stop it, and everything proceeds to fall apart. Remembering that Stag helped build it and was still in the area, we went back to the airship to find him hiding in the floor. After some light Q&A, we throw him in the monkey cage just in case we have any more questions later on. Now we have to pause a bit here on the story. Remember earlier I mentioned that my save got corrupted and we have to replay like half of the game. On the way out of the ship is exactly where it happened. Safe to say, I got very mad and needed to take a breather. The next day, we sunk many hours into the game and managed to get back to the point where we lost our progress. The toxin has disabled the bat tank, and at this point, we need to experience Batman's pullout game one more time. Since we are personally in the toxin, Batman starts losing brain cells and his sanity takes another dive. Now that we have the car back and we are safe inside, we head underground to free more of Ivy's butthole plants to counter the toxin. Once done, we then have to protect the plants and Ivy while facing off against the Arkham Knight, who is driving around in this special tank dispersing the toxin. I absolutely hated this fight as it was just so slow, but eventually we beat him and get ourselves the next trophy. After destroying the tank, Poison Ivy then removes all of the toxin, which endgamed her like she was snapped away by Thanos. While in the area, I then head to some challenges. Going back to this one, after many attempts, we then 3-star it. We then clear out some checkpoints and attempt some more races. This race in particular, I failed a few times by literally a second or less.
Oh my god!
Eventually though, we do get the 3 stars here too. We go and complete more of the Riddler's missions and free Catwoman for this trophy. And now it is back down to hunting the Arkham Knight, and while tracking him down, we definitely murder these 4 dudes. Shortly after disarming this explosive vest and beating up an entire room of people, we are then chased by the Arkham Knight himself into the tunnels where we have to get our next trophy. Some very cool chase sequences later, and resetting a couple of times due to my lack of brain cells, we narrowly managed to escape at the cost of the Batmobile. I had some issues with the recordings here, but basically Gordon has been captured by the Arkham Knight and we need to save it. Once we get to Gordon, we then get ambushed by the Arkham Knight and have to go through a boss fight that just consists of sneaking around and avoiding the red lights for stealth takedowns. Eventually, we beat the Arkham Knight and find out it's Jason, the first Robin that we were training, and he has essentially been brainwashed by the Joker when he was alive. We then go to the roof with Gordon to go after Scarecrow, and it turns out Gordon has led us into a trap. Although it was to save his daughter Barbara, who we thought was dead, so I suppose we can let it slide. An altercation and one Tobey Maguire save later, we end up by our car and ready to take Barbara back to the basement. After locking her in the boot for safekeeping, we net ourselves the next story trophy. When back at the clock tower, a bunch of enemies turn up. On the way back to the police station, we managed to clear out this checkpoint and get a FaceTime from Deathstroke. We then stumbled across this homeless man's fight club and put a stop to it. Once he was arrested, we get ourselves another trophy. While we're at the police station, we find out that the station's being attacked and we have to defend it. Overall, this mission is very fun, but if you die, you are forced to watch a 20-second cutscene, and this became very irritating very fast, especially in New Game Plus. While here, we get a trophy for using all of the Batmobile tools in one fight. Then once we stop some attackers on the roof, we get our next story trophy. Scarecrow then reaches out and informs us that he has captured Robin and is holding him with Gordon. So for the final mission of the story, we have to turn ourselves in to save them. A few cutscenes later, we are tied up and exposed to the world.
Hold up!
While we were live streaming, we are injected with the Chlamydia 2.0 several times directly from the source, which again pulls the Joker out and we have to fight him in our mind to seal him away. Scarecrow, now very confused as to why we have not been affected by it, gives the Arkham Knight a chance to sneak up and set Travis Scott free. After giving Scarecrow a little dose of his own medicine, he then becomes trapped in his own mind and very easy to deal with. taking him back to the lockup. Next us, our final story related trophy. And now comes the pain. We have a lot to clean up and it gets very repetitive, so I'll try and explain it as best as I can. Firstly, we start by doing donuts to get the 3 minutes of drift time needed for this trophy. Next, during a challenge, we managed to smash 10 militia vehicles off the road for this trophy, followed by 3-starring that challenge for the 46 stars total trophy. We then track down the bat thing who scared us earlier and give him the antidote so that we can arrest him for another trophy. While clearing out bases and watchtowers, we managed to get another trophy for using 100 quick gadgets in combat. Many hours later of cleaning up the map, we finally located and cleared all of the mines around the map for this trophy. We destroyed the last watchtower for another trophy, followed by destroying all of the checkpoints on the map for this trophy. We then wrecked all militia APCs around the map for yet another trophy. Then we finally got a chance to catch up with the jetpack dude from earlier who did not learn his lesson. So we mount him from the back and fly him to prison personally. This gives us the Days of Fire trophy. We then decide to hunt down Deathstroke and destroy his tank. He then ejectos seats and we spear him out of the air and lock him up for thinking he's that guy.
You're not that guy.
Next, we finally free all of the firefighters. The final one that we rescue is the lead firefighter, and it turns out that this dude sold them all out. So off to prison with you, boy.
Jail!
After was probably the best and most disturbing side mission in the whole game. We have to track down this killer who ends up being this weird pig man. So he's been trying to make perfect beings, and after literally punching some brain cells out of him, we arrest him for our next trophy. With them out the way, I then wanted to make a start on the dreaded Riddler trophies. Throughout my time so far, I've only collected 25 of the 243 total. So it was time to crack on, open a guide, get some music going, and endure the pain of collecting these. Some of them are so well hidden, I don't feel guilty at all about using a guide. We finally are on the home stretch of riddles and collectibles. However, I have found that a few are locked behind a side storyline I completely forgot about, and also one requires certain upgrades to get to. With that in mind, I went and completed Cobblepot's storyline, where we keep shutting down his stash houses with Nightwing, and also collecting the bits that we need while we're in there. Then many hours later, we are finally able to complete all 243 collectibles. But before we go and take him down, let's finish off these side stories that I missed. So we reach out to Azrael and complete all of his no-hit challenges, eventually. Then we complete his storyline for a truce, giving us this trophy. After that, we chase down Cobblepot, who has Nightwing at gunpoint. Nightwing shortly after volleys him up and we hit him with our best WWE finisher. Once we put him in a cell, we then get the Touch of Death trophy. Now it is time to put the Riddler down for all of the pain he has made us endure. I genuinely think he made me lose brain cells in real life going for everything. He meets us back where it all started in a mech suit, so Batman and Catwoman take it in turns ripping him out of it and manhandling him across the room. Many days later he regains consciousness and we are able to arrest him for that awful Riddle Me That trophy. Before we start New Game Plus, it is time to get some of the miscellaneous trophies out of the way. First one up was for doing 8 100-meter jumps. The next one was for gliding 400 meters close to the floor. Then we had to glide under all 3 bridges in one glide without using the grappling hook. This one was for throwing 20 drivers out of their cars. After, we loaded up this painful challenge to get 5 perfect criticals without taking damage. Following a good run of trophies, I wanted to knock out one of the most painful ones. This one is for using 15 combat moves in one free flow without being damaged. This was pure pain and I had to look into a few things that definitely helped. My main tips would be to focus on the more complicated combinations first, and then to also spam all of your throwables as this counts towards the 15. Doing it in a challenge was the best method for resetting and testing. After 45 minutes of pure pain, I finally got the Brutality 101 trophy. We then only had 2 more challenges to 3-star in order to get our final challenge trophy. First was to get 30k or above on Azrael's no-hit challenge. Then we had one final race which I failed several times by literally a second. Eventually though, we got the final 3 stars for the Absolution trophy. Only 3 more trophies to go and get now, and they are pretty simple. So we end this playthrough with the true ending and start the Nightfall protocol for one of the trophies. Apart from the New Game Plus trophy, There is one more missing, and that is for using all Predator takedowns. Since we had to replay the game, I knew I could get this throughout, as I was only missing a couple after checking the full list. Starting off New Game Plus, overall I did not find it that difficult to be honest, however they do remove the counter prompt which makes some fights rather painful. A short time into the playthrough we managed to get the Blunt Trauma trophy by completing a zipline takedown which I never knew existed. The aim here now was just to speed run everything and then skip all cutscenes. While I pushed through New Game Plus, I wanted to say thank you again for the support so far. It has been amazing. I am very glad to be adding the Batman Arkham Knight Platinum to the collection, and overall I do think it's an amazing experience. There is so much depth in the game and in the city. Despite there being so much to do for a completionist, it doesn't really get that boring, which is rare. The story is amazing, gameplay is great once you get over the learning block, and overall a very good fun game to play. With that now being said, we eventually get to the end of New Game Plus, where once we get out of the cutscene, we are greeted with our final trophy. And shortly after that, the juicy Platinum. I have a PlayStation must play to Platinum next. Can you guess what it is? If you enjoyed the video and want to see the attempt of the DLC, be sure to leave a like and maybe one day I'll give them a go. Comment below what games you want to see, and if you want to see more Platinum experiences, then subscribe to follow our road to 100 Platinum trophies.
我很喜欢冰淇淋。